Names like Bach, Mozart, Chopin, familiar to all of us perhaps, but imagine working with them on a daily basis. I've come here to Bristol, to the offices of BBC Magazines, to speak to Oliver Condy, the editor of BBC Classical Music Magazine.
Well, music journalism is one of those sort of competitive areas, and I think when I left university, I didn't do music as a degree, I did English and French. Then I went on to do a music MA, and I thought, well, how can I combine all those things really? I mean, how can I write and still be interested in music? So I wrote all these letters to people in London, record companies, retail people as well. I wanted to work for a recording studio maybe, so I shadowed someone at Abbey Road. I went to see the people at EMI, and eventually someone said, well, what about magazine journalism? How about, write to the editor of Classic FM magazine? So I wrote to the editor, Lucy Hall, and she said, well, come in and do some work experience. So I did that, and then lived with my poor grandmother for about 9 weeks. And, it really was unpaid work experience, and I'd go in and do another week and another week and another week, and eventually a position came up, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I mean, it's just one of those things that I think a lot of people who work in this business find they are in the right place at the right time. So then made my way up through Classic FM magazine by, just working hard, I suppose, and being indispensable and just sort of learning as much as I could from the people that mattered there. And that's how I started really in this area. Well, there really is no such thing as a typical day. That's the thing. I mean, I suppose when it comes to deadline, which we're on at the moment, the thing that you're most concerned about is getting pages out, is making sure that every fact is accurate, every sort of plug at the end, whether it be for Radio 3, whether it be for a new disc the record company is bringing out, is accurate. There are no mistakes on the pages, the flat plan's up to date, production knows exactly what's going on as well, so that the pages we send have the right paginations assigned to them, ads know what's going on, they have the accurate flat plan, so it's all about that sort of thing. Now the weeks before though, every day is different, so you're planning future magazines. I'm going out to see the record industry, I'm interviewing people over the phone, I'm going to interview them face to face. I went to interview a harpsichordist in Paris this weekend, which was quite nice. So yeah, it varies so much, which is what I quite like about it. I mean, we've done, since this team has been here in Bristol, we've done over 85 magazines. And you would have thought each one would be fairly similar, but every single one is so different, and yeah, that's what makes it so varied, I think.
You mentioned there a trip to Paris. I imagine trips abroad must be one of the perks of the job being editor.
They are, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do them over weekends, so you've got to love the area you're working in. I mean, I love classical music, so it is important to be involved in an area which you're passionate about, especially when you're dealing with magazines. But yeah, that is quite a fun part. And of course, I'm interviewing my heroes. So there's a bloke called Christophe Rousset, who is just one of the great stars of sort of Baroque music, and it was great to meet him and to talk to him about his love of music and to sort of share my love of music with him, and we exchanged ideas, and it's great. I mean, the thing about BBC magazines is that we have a certain amount of BBC content that we have to put in our magazines as a sort of rule of thumb. So we make sure that we support Radio 3 as much as we possibly can. Now the problem comes when Radio 3 wants to promote us, and it's very difficult for a public service body to promote its commercial interests. So we have to be quite cunning in the way that we work together with Radio 3. So we publish listings every single month, we publish interviews with presenters, we get some presenters to write for the magazine, and we have a cover disc every single month on the front, which has got performances from the BBC orchestras. So we do quite a lot with the BBC. It's just a question of getting them to return the favour from time to time. So we do work quite closely. On the other hand, we're very much a separate organisation. So we do our own features and our own spin on things and get our own writers in. So yeah, so it's a sort of mix between the two. We're always looking to bring classical music to the world. I think anybody who works in a sort of a niche market, whether it be model railways or gardening or whatever, is looking to expand their audience. And yes, I mean, we believe the classical music is a wonderful art form, and so we try and present it in as approachable way as we possibly can. There are 3 magazines on the market, us, main magazines. I mean, there are lots of others, little specialist classical music magazines, but there's Classic FM magazine, Gramophone magazine, and us. We're the biggest selling classical music magazine in the world as it happens. but there's always a need to try and steal their audience and sort of widen our circle of readers as well. So yeah, we're always looking to expand. Yeah, which is why we do podcasts and have a website and do Twitter and Facebook and everything. So trying to sort of attract as many people as we can. I mean, we enjoy what we do, so we like communicating with the audience. And I suppose if you do it with that mindset, I think you will do something that's entertaining, and I think something that does add to the product. If you just simply tweet, you know, we've got something on our website, or such and such person has died, click this link. If you just do links all the time, I think you're going to bore the hell out of people. But I think if you challenge people to, I don't know, name their favourite spring music, or I don't know, a certain piece by favourite, or tie it in with sport, or tie it in with anything else, then I think you're going to interest people and draw them in. So we do it from an entertaining sort of stance, first of all, and everything follows from that, I think.
Excellent. Is that migration online, do you think that will have an impact on your readership, the traditional readership? Or?
Yeah, it's surprising how many people don't actually look at our website at all. We streamed our awards, which we had last week, online, and that's going to be available for the next couple of months online as well. But it's amazing how many people don't know it's there. I went to see a friend over the weekend. He didn't even know about the website, yet he's a staunch subscriber to the magazine. So we've got to be very careful that we don't bastardise our brand. So we don't do too much, but at the same time try and reach that new audience. I mean, after all, I was employed as a magazine editor. I'm not a web editor. I've had to learn that on the job. And I'm certainly not a social media expert, although we've learnt that on the job. We're employed as magazine crafts people, if you like. You know, that's what we do. We put together a magazine, so everything that we do will distract us from that. So the more we can concentrate on the core product, the better. And our audience is going to be older than on a gardening or a sports magazine. So they're not going to be necessarily concerned with buying an iPad and downloading it. Some will. But you know, there's that sort of matrix, isn't there? That's sort of Venn diagram of classical music lovers, of iPad owners, and people that buy BBC Music Magazine. It's getting those three circles to meet, and how many people have an iPad, have an interest in classical music, and also are likely to read a magazine. It's going to be very, very small. But so you know, do we invest in that now? I don't know. It's a decision I think every magazine maker is trying to make at the moment. So it's exactly the same for CDs though with the classical music industry. You know, when is the time going to come when they're going to stop making CDs and they're going to concentrate on downloads? I mean, my argument is never. It's going to plateau, and Spotify will always be around. Although, as you probably noticed, they've put a stranglehold now on the free music you can get through Spotify. So there will always be people who want the magazine, and I don't believe that will ever go away. You know, you can fold it up, you can read it in the bath, battery doesn't run down, you can take it to the beach, and you know, you can chuck it down next to your bed with any risk of treading on it when you get up in the morning. On the other hand, we can't ignore the iPad because it's a terrific piece of technology. There's so many things we can do with it. We can link directly to download stores, we can link directly to Radio 3 and much more. We're a music magazine, you know, anything that enables people to listen to music via a medium has got to be a good thing. So yeah, it's an argument, it's a conversation we're having at the moment. So technology savvy is something I've always believed that technology can be learnt, really. I mean, technology is not, I think, a difficult thing if you have an interest in it. I mean, I have a love of gadgets, really. It's not an obsessive love of gadgets, but I like them, you know. You know, I think the main thing is having a passion for the subject matter. You know, knowing about your classical music. You've got to know the difference between Schumann and Schubert in the same way that in football you've got to know the difference between Manchester City and Manchester United. It's not obvious to everyone, but you know, you've got to be able to have that passion, because you will go away at weekends and write about it and interview people, and you've got to be engaged with the subject matter. So that for us is very, very important. The journalistic skill, of course, is important as well. You've got to have a passion for writing. So yes, it is. There aren't that many people, I think, who could necessarily work on a magazine and slot in and immediately start working on it. I think they need a bit of time to train up. But it's a great fun area to work in.